Why did Britain or other European powers of the time never try to capture China, or did they? So there was definitely a conflict between the British and the Chinese. So let me show you. Let me share some images. Just a minute. Okay. So this is an image of a British opium warehouse in Patna. Opium financed British rule in India. The British forced Indian farmers to cultivate opium instead of food crops, leading to horrific famines and the deaths of millions, more than 100 million Indians over time. And Queen Victoria was the biggest drug trafficker in history. Forget about Pablo Escobar, forget about anybody else. Queen Victoria was the biggest drug trafficker in history. After creating these artificial famines, these guys, the British, they forced the starving Indians to carry out back-breaking hard labor in return for relief. And the relief consisted of less food than the Nazis provided the inmates of the Buchenwald death camp in the Second World War. That is how British basically killed Indians in enormous numbers. And why am I talking about this? Because this opium that they forced the Indians to cultivate was used in China to extract riches out of China. Essentially, it was in order to extract silver from China. So here's what happened: the British went to war with China in 1839. What they were doing was they were forcing Indians to produce all this opium. Opium was then exported to China because the opium has some use in Chinese traditional medicine, but the British flooded China with opium, and it created millions of opium addicts in China. So the Chinese emperor, suddenly he realized what's happening. He became alarmed. He banned opium throughout China. He confiscated all the opium that the British had stored in warehouses and all that, and it was all dumped into the ocean. And they even said a prayer to the ocean gods, apologizing for the pollution. So this happened in 1839. In return, the British sent their navy to China, and they bombarded the Chinese, and they had superior firepower and superior technology. So they were able to force the Chinese, after a couple of years of fighting, to enter into a treaty with the British, the Treaty of Nanjing, I think, which gave up Hong Kong and 5 other ports to the British, in which the British were allowed to trade whatever they wanted, including opium. So this treaty was in 1842. Then again, after a few years, the Chinese tried to push back against the British because the British were flooding China with opium, which they were getting for free from Europe. And in exchange for the opium, they were getting enormous amounts of silver from China. So China was becoming impoverished by the British. They were getting millions of people addicted to opium, and they were extracting silver out of China. So the Chinese tried to push back again. There was a second opium war with the British in 1856. Again, the British prevailed. The Americans and the French also supported the British in this opium war. The Americans were also dealing in opium in China, right? So the British, the Americans, and the French, they were all basically trying to enrich themselves at the expense of China. So the second opium war happened in 1856, I think. The Chinese again lost. There was a new treaty, a more humiliating treaty in 1858, in which 10 more ports were basically given over to the Western powers, mostly the British. In 1859, the British sacked Beijing and plundered the summer palace of the Emperor of China as an act of humiliation of the Chinese. And some of the soldiers, I believe, that the British employed in this activity were Indian soldiers. So China today uses that as a pretext of unfinished business with India. So this was in 1859, the sack of Beijing and the plunder of the summer palace. So there was a revised treaty in 1859 which made opium legal in China. It also made Christianity legal in China. It brought in this enormous influx of Christian missionaries in China. And many Chinese became Christians at the time. The Chinese were impoverished at the time. There was this Taiping rebellion happening at the time, which devastated large parts of Western China. So the Chinese government was in a very poor and very precarious position, very weak position, and the Chinese nation was greatly impoverished. People were starving, and so people became Christian in exchange for food. So this is a record of that. These Chinese who converted to Christianity for the sake of food were called by other Chinese as rice Christians, right? So this was another form of imperialism, the introduction of a foreign religion as a means of controlling the people, and in exchange for rice. So the Chinese called these converts rice Christians, and this is on the record. It's all recorded in books and all that, right? So this is an example of how the British humiliated and subjugated China. Then there was this Boxer Rebellion in 1899, which was a rebellion by Chinese against this imperialism, foreign imperialism. It was also crushed. So the Chinese call this period of 100 years. They call it the century of humiliation of China, and this lasted, according to the Chinese historians, from the time of the first Opium War, 1839, until Mao Zedong reconquered China and consolidated his rule over China. The Chinese Communist Party became the sole hegemonic power in China in 1949, most likely, right? So that is the century of humiliation. This is what is taught in every Chinese textbook. This is what every student is taught, and they are taught that China was subjugated because China was politically, economically, and militarily inferior to the West. And ever since then, the Chinese have been trying to catch up with the West and surpass the West. So this is drilled into the heads of every single Chinese child and every student, that China needs to overcome this deficiency which caused it to be conquered. So they are trying to instill the lessons of history into their population, into their people, which is in stark contrast to India, which is trying to convince its population that colonialism and foreign occupation was good for the country. So that's the difference between India and China. China is trying to modernize. The emphasis has always been on modernization and on surpassing every other nation, especially the West. And in India, it's always been of copying the West and being subservient to the West. Very different attitudes. So India is still completely colonized. China has decolonized way back. So this is the story of the European powers and British uh, interference and subjugation of China, which happened in the 19th century and went on until the Chinese Communist Party came to power.